Hi, we're the Spaces, Places and Belonging Community Hub, a programme aimed at supporting inclusive, community-led research across the UK's galleries, libraries, archives, museums and heritage sector. Funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council, the programme will provide over £550,000 in grant funding, alongside a programme of training, digital skills development and network building. In this video, we will run through what funding is available and explain our assessment criteria, giving you the tools you need to write a great application. So, what funding is available? We have three funding streams ranging in scope and value. The bursaries provide grants of up to £1,000 for people seeking to grow their expertise in community heritage work. Open to applicants at any stage of their personal or professional journey, these bursaries can be used for training, mentoring, attending workshops, or other professional development activities related to heritage and community engagement to be determined by you. Maybe you want to attend some training on using social media to attract new audiences, or you want to go to a conference to talk about learnings or toolkits from a previous project you've worked on. Offered on a rolling basis, bursaries are designed to be accessible and responsive, helping to build confidence and capacity, particularly among those who may not have had access to such opportunities before. Seed corn grants offer between £500 and £5,000 to support early-stage exploratory projects that spark new ideas and approaches to community engagement with heritage. These grants are designed for community groups, galleries, libraries, archives and museums, or other heritage organisations looking to test concepts, build partnerships, or pilot activities. Seed corn grants are designed to be flexible and easy to access, making it simple for anyone to join the Community Hub programme. They encourage new ideas and inclusivity right from the start. Project grants of up to £30,000 fund substantial collaborative projects between at least one GLAM or one heritage organisation and one community group. These grants support in-depth research, skills development, and the creation of lasting resources that reflect diverse voices and experiences. You can read more about our understanding of community on our website. Projects should be co-designed and community-led, with a focus on inclusion, sustainability, and impact. Whether building upon a previous seed corn project or starting fresh, project grants are intended to create meaningful change and long-term value for both communities and institutions. You can find out more about each individual grant scheme on our website, www.nationalarchives.gov.uk/community hub. So, how do we assess our applications? For the Community Hub funding programme, we have 5 assessment criteria: need, audiences engagement and impact, delivery and management, inclusion, participation and partnership working, and knowledge sharing. The way this is reflected across our funding portfolio is as follows. We have 2 core criteria that cover all 3 grant schemes. Those are need and audiences engagement and impact. For seed corn and project grants, we also have inclusion, participation and partnership working, and delivery and management. And finally, for project grants and bursaries, we will also assess against knowledge sharing. So let's take a closer look at each assessment criteria. The first core assessment criteria applicable to all 3 grant schemes is need. This is your opportunity to show us why this funding matters now. Whether you're applying for a bursary, a seed corn grant, or a project grant, we want to understand the challenge, gap, or opportunity you're responding to, and how this support will help you take a meaningful step forward. This could be a moment of change, a skills gap, a community-led priority, or a strategic opportunity. What's important is that your response is timely, specific, and clearly shows the potential for impact, whether that's personal, organisational, or sector-wide. For bursaries, the focus is on individual development. Here you'll describe what you need to grow in your community heritage practice, whether that's building confidence, exploring new methods like co-production or digital engagement, or responding to a challenge in your current role. Show us how this bursary will help you deepen your practice and benefit others around you. For seed corn grants, they are about early-stage project exploration. You'll explain a timely issue or opportunity your project is well placed to investigate, perhaps a barrier to access, a shift in community priorities, or a new partnership. This is your chance to test ideas, build momentum, and unlock future potential. With project grants, the funding is designed to support collaborative action and delivery. Your response here should highlight a pressing challenge or strategic opportunity that requires partnership between communities and GLAM or heritage organisations. Show us how your project will create meaningful change now and generate long-term value for everyone involved. So, whatever scheme you're applying for, use this section to make a compelling case for the need behind your application. Help us understand not just what you want to do, but why it matters now, who it will benefit, and how this grant will help you take the next step, whether that's learning something new, testing an idea, or delivering lasting change. The second assessment criteria, core to all three grant schemes, is audiences' engagement and impact. This section of your application is all about change. We want to understand what difference your proposal will make for you, your organisation, your community, and the wider heritage sector. Across all three grant schemes, we're looking for a clear sense of who will benefit, how they will be engaged, and what impact you hope to create. That might include building confidence, introducing new approaches, strengthening relationships, or amplifying underrepresented voices. You should also consider how you'll reflect on what's been learned and how that learning might be shared or embedded. We know that this might change throughout the project, but that's okay. Let us know what impact you hope your project may have. Now, let's explore how each scheme approaches this criteria in its own way. Bursaries focus on personal development with ripple effects. You'll describe how the bursary will support your growth in community heritage work and how that growth could benefit others. Think about how new skills or confidence might strengthen your role, influence your organisation, or enable more inclusive engagement in your community. Seed corn grants are about testing ideas and sparking change. You'll explain how your project will engage audiences, both existing and new, through meaningful participation. We want to see how you've identified those audiences, why they matter to your project, and what difference the work can make for them. This is also your chance to show how your project could build momentum, unlock future potential, or generate learning for the wider sector. Project grants support collaborative delivery and lasting impact. Again, we want to see how you've identified your audiences, why they matter to your project, and what difference the work can make for them. Your response should show how your project will centre its audiences through inclusive and relevant engagement, whether that's through workshops, co-creation, digital content, or other activities. We want to understand how your project will reflect the interests and priorities of those involved, and what positive change it will create, such as new skills, stronger relationships, or greater visibility for underrepresented stories. So, whatever scheme you're applying for, use this section to show us who your work is for, how you will engage them, and what difference it will make. Help us understand the impact you're aiming for and why it matters. We then move on to delivery and management, the first assessment criteria that applies only to seed corn and project grants. This section is all about how your project will be delivered. Whether you're applying for a seed corn grant or a project grant, we want to understand how your team will work together, how progress will be tracked, and how you'll respond to challenges along the way. Across both schemes, we're looking for a well thought out approach to project management. That includes clarity around roles, responsibilities, communication, and decision making processes, and explanations for how you'll monitor timelines, budgets, and outputs. You should also consider how you'll manage risks, procure resources, and ensure that your delivery plan aligns with your budget and milestones. Now, let's look at how each scheme approaches this criteria. Seed corn grants focus on early stage exploration, so your delivery plan should reflect a flexible but structured approach. You'll describe how your team will coordinate day-to-day activities, who's responsible for what, and how you'll stay on track. If you're hiring new staff, explain how they'll be paid and supported. You should also outline how you monitor progress, manage risks, and justify any non-staff costs, especially if you need to procure resources externally. Project grants support collaborative delivery, often involving multiple partners. Your response should show how the partnership will operate in practice, who's leading on different aspects of the project, how partners will communicate, and how decisions will be made. You'll also explain how you'll track progress and manage risks, particularly around community engagement or capacity. As with seed corn, you'll need to justify your budget and outline key milestones that reflect your delivery plan. So, use this section to show us that your project is ready to go. Help us understand how your team or partnership will work together, how you'll stay organised, and how you'll adapt if things don't go to plan. A strong delivery and management plan gives us confidence that your project will succeed and that the funding will be used wisely. The next assessment criteria is inclusion, participation, and partnership working. This section is all about how your project will be shaped by the people it's for. We want to understand how you'll centre inclusion, collaboration, and community involvement, not just in theory, but in practice. Across both schemes, we're looking for projects that build trust, share decision making, and create space for meaningful participation. That means working with communities and partners in ways that are respectful, equitable, and responsive. It also means recognizing people's time, expertise, and lived experience, whether through paid roles, co-design, or other forms of support. Now, let's look at how each scheme approaches this criteria. Seed corn grants focus on community-centered exploration. You'll explain how your project will involve the people and communities you aim to work with, especially those who may not usually feel represented in heritage or research spaces. Think about how you'll build relationships, remove barriers to participation, and ensure that community voices are heard and valued throughout. You should also describe how you'll work with any partner organisations and what each brings to the collaboration. Project grants support collaborative delivery and shared leadership. Your response to these questions should show how your partnership between a GLAM or heritage organisation and community groups will work in practice. We want to understand how decisions will be made, how responsibility will be shared, and how community voices will shape the project from start to finish. You should also explain how you'll support inclusive participation, especially for those who may face barriers to engagement, and how you'll recognise and value everyone's contributions. So, use this section to show us how your project will be inclusive, participatory, and collaborative. Help us understand how you'll work with people, not just for them, and how your approach could leave a legacy of trust, equity, and shared learning. The final assessment criteria is knowledge sharing, and this applies to bursaries and project grants. This final criteria is about how you'll share what you learn. Whether you're applying for a bursary or a project grant, we want to understand how your insights, skills, and experiences will be captured and shared so that others can benefit from your work. Across both schemes, we're looking for thoughtful, inclusive approaches to knowledge sharing. That means reflecting on what you've learned, identifying who might benefit, and choosing formats that are accessible and relevant, whether that's a conversation, a blog post, a toolkit, or a public event. It's also about creating a legacy, helping others build on your work and extending the impact beyond the life of the grant. Now, let's look at how each scheme approaches this criteria. Bursaries focus on personal learning with outward impact. You'll describe how you plan to reflect on your development, perhaps through notes, creative outputs, or informal evaluation, and how you'll share that learning with others. This might include your team, your organisation, your community, or peers in the heritage sector. Think about how your insights could support others, especially those who haven't had access to similar opportunities, and how you'll make your sharing inclusive and accessible. Project grants support collaborative learning and sector-wide contribution. Your response should show how your project will generate new knowledge through co-design, engagement, creative practice, or partnership working, and how that knowledge will be shared meaningfully. Consider who you'll share it with, such as other GLAM and heritage organisations, community groups, or funders, and how you'll make your outputs useful and accessible. This is also your chance to show how your project will leave a legacy by helping others build on your work and contributing to wider practice. So, use this section to show us how your learning will travel within your team, across your community, and beyond. Help us understand how your insights will be captured, shared, and used to inspire future work. Now that we have gone through each of our criteria, you may be wondering how this is reflected in the application process itself. You can download Microsoft Word versions of all our application forms through our website on the Useful Documents page. We do ask, however, that when it comes to submitting an application, you do so through the online platform, which you can find linked on the relevant grant pages. In all application forms, you'll be asked to answer either 1 or 2 questions per assessment criteria, each of which will vary from 200 to 400 words. As word counts aren't that long, we recommend being very clear and focused in your responses. Prioritize the most relevant information, avoid repetition, and make sure that each answer directly addresses the question being asked. You don't need to cover every possible example that we have mentioned in the guidance, just choose the ones that the best support your case. Think of each response as a concise story, what you want to do, why it matters, and how the grant will help you make it happen. So, you decided you want to make an application, but what next? Talk to us. If you're unsure about anything or want to discuss an opportunity with us before you apply, please do. Make sure when drafting an application you are clear how your work and project aligns with the funding stream you're applying for. Complete your application in clear and accessible language and make sure you answer all the questions. On our website, head to our useful documents page to access downloadable versions of the application forms and an application checklist to help you prepare. Finally, get someone else to read your application before you submit it. Good luck with your application. You can get in touch with us at the details below.